All right, let's see. I'm going to try to come up with a way to describe how to open your third eye. I've heard people discuss what they claim to do in order to do it. I don't understand what they're saying. First, I think it's probably good to understand what the third eye is. I guess best described as like a psychic or telepathic ability, using your mind to communicate or to learn information instead of your normal human five senses. It's certainly not easy to do. Naturals probably have done it since birth. They've just grown and learned to use all six senses. And there is a seventh, but I never hear anybody say anything really about that. So I certainly am not going to, I don't see any point in talking about it. But the third eye and how to activate it varies by every single person. Most people will never do that. There are people that can do that once they do it, they won't like it. I've seen that. And, but for those that really want to, once you know who you are, going back to one of my other videos, and once you make the commitment with yourself that these are certainly possible things, they're very human, there's nothing abnormal about it, it's not magic, it's not anything that's, super special or supernatural, and certainly nothing to brag about. At least that's how I feel. But to activate it, you need to shut all five of your senses off. That's how I would suggest to do it first. Now, how do you do that? Well, you'd have to improvise, put noise canceling headphones on, put something that covers your eyes so that you can't see any light at all, and nothing. No sound, no light. You can't have anything touching you. So the best way would be to be naked, but that's, not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So underwear or undershirt or as little clothes as possible, in a private place, of course. No interactions at all with anything or anybody. No animals, no people, no radio, no television, no music, none of that. Again, try to shut all of your senses off as much as you can. I would fast maybe 10, 12 hours prior so that you have no taste in your mouth, that you don't have, it doesn't draw your attention. Then you would have to concentrate in that silence and in the darkness and think about things that you would normally do. At that particular time, I would be washing the dishes, or I would be taking my kids to school, or I would be anything. It could be anything. I could be at soccer practice. I would be managing and giving a lecture at my school. I would be teaching people something I'd be working on cars. You understand what I mean? You'd be doing anything. And think about that while you are in complete darkness, or as dark as you can possibly get it. Absolutely no noise whatsoever. No noises. And try to visualize in your mind how you would be doing things. This takes a lot of practice. It takes especially if you're not a natural, you need to practice this. you will find, and I promise you, you will find that eventually what you're thinking about, and I would try to think about the same thing to start, like what's going on at work? What would I be doing at work? Because as your mind starts to teach itself that this is what you're doing, it's going to start to work for you, and it's going to realize that it has what they call the third eye. I'm not real privy to that terminology, but it is what it is, for understanding purposes. And your mind will start to do it on its own. That's the way the human mind works. It works that way with just about everybody. So if you imagine driving, you can actually get to the point, and this is certainly not going to be overnight. Some people try to get this or master it their entire lives and never do. So I'm just saying, don't expect, all of these things, and you're going to be able to just tell what's going on or make a prediction or do these things, because you probably won't. Even naturals that have not used this, it can take a while to learn it, and you need to learn it the right way. But again, everybody is different. What I just gave was my suggestion on what might be easier for you to do it. It's best to see your sixth sense when you can't use any of the first five. You understand what I mean? The sixth is the only thing that's left. So that's what I would do. Eventually, the goal for this, people have all kinds of goals. You would be able to, it revises a very strong type of empathy. You can forecast weather, traffic, just about anything that you want. It does, in a way, become part of the collective conscience and collective truth and the reality of everybody. And where you can be sitting somewhere and reading a magazine or reading a paper or on your computer at Starbucks or whatever you're doing. And this has happened to me before. And not on my computer, I was reading a book that my aunt had given me. I was supposed to see her later that week, and I would have felt really bad if I didn't read any of it, and she asked about it. So that's why, anyway. So it's very boring. But I was reading it, and a couple of guys came in. I was doing a coffee shop downtown, and didn't think much of it. And they got whatever they got, and then they sat down. Excuse me. And one of the guys, there was just something that was a little bit different than the others, and he seemed a little bit not more anxious, but just different. And I knew he was dangerous. I knew that he was in a way that he should probably not be in public. And I was with a female friend at the time, quite attractive lady, and I kept looking at her, and I just knew instinctively to leave. But when we were leaving, I got glimpses in my head, these thoughts I never have, of things that he's done that I've never been back to that place. I don't know if he goes there regularly, but that's a downside to this type of thing. But on the flip side, if you're driving down the highway and something happens, you may pick up an extra sense of, wait a minute, there's danger up there, so let's slow down. These types of things. Again, it varies for every single person. I don't know if this would work for anybody. It's my suggestion on how to start. There's a lot of things you can branch off of this if you find that this works. But that's what I would do. After then, I would suggest learning how to turn it on and off. I can't turn it off. None of this ever stops for me. 24 hours a day, every day, my entire life. This is the way it is. So, I mean, you have that also. If you don't want that, this isn't a switch. It's not and it's, people naturally get bored with things and they try to enhance them or change them a little bit. People move their furniture around in their homes. They buy new clothes. They get new hairstyles. They do things. People have to change it up. So, I've tried to add and change things with this and push it and see what happens and that kind of thing. I thought it would be really cool to have telekinesis. There's only been 3 recorded cases in all of human history, and nobody knows what happens to those 3 people. Probably a government lab, again, chained to some table somewhere, but and it wasn't floating things all around the room, but it was sharing the energy with a stationary object and moving it with a telepathy. It has been proven. I have no idea how to do that. You can probably concentrate until you blow capillaries all in your head and nothing will ever happen. I don't know that. So just saying, unfortunately, with working with the government, I have had long periods of time of downtime or waiting for something. So yeah, this is the fun, cool stuff that me and some other people have thought of to do. So anyway, that's how I would start. That's how I would think of it. Excuse me. And see where it goes from there. Again, any questions or thoughts, please ask. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Until then, I will see you hopefully in another video. Happy Easter, by the way.